What's up, everybody?
Get there.
What? It was so good. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Super Gamer Boys. I'm your host and Colonel and Dad, Garrett Morlang. In here in the virtual studio with me is the king of video games and resident superstar, Adrian Holmes. What's up, Adrian?
We almost make it on time every time. Yep. And then here you come. Oh, I hit the wrong. It's one button to start the show.
It's really difficult. It's really difficult to find that button, you know?
I'm doing all right, I guess.
Also, did you notice I called myself Colonel instead of Captain?
Yeah, I did. I was going to let you slide, and then you came back around to it. So now we got to talk about it. Who do you think you are?
Who do you think I mean, according to you, I'm Colonel. I'm not Snake.
In the bits.
In the bits? Okay.
Yeah.
So we talked about it after the show. And I was like, dude, like, I guess what it is I just always assume I'm the main character, you know? Like, I'm the main character in my stories. Of course I'm Snake. But from here on out, I'll let you have it. You can be Snake on the show. I'll be Colonel.
Thank you. That's all I wanted.
Unless
Garrett, you're not even the main character in your own life.
Wow.
Well, no, his kids are. They're supposed to be.
Oh.
Yeah, JJ.
He went from a main character to a supporting character. That's how that works.
There we go. Also joining us tonight is the heavyweight podcasting champion of the world, JJ Purdom.
Hey, what's up, boys? I got nothing.
That's
I already
all
I hit you.
okay.
Well, because I already pummeled your sack right now, like right out the gate, saying you're not the, So I'm like, I don't have another quip to hit you with because I think I prematurely did that. You know all about that, right, Garrett? Oh no, see, I did have one in me. Never mind.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say glad to have you here, but I don't know why you're even still on the show, honestly. You know,
Hey, that hurts.
you have your own wrestling show now. Why don't you just go over there?
Now people's feelings are hurt.
Founding father here, man. I mean,
Founding
come on.
father. You're cheating on me with another podcast.
Dude, and I'll tell you what.
I don't even have two podcasts, JJ.
Yet.
Man, I'll talk about great podcasting. You know what I mean? Like it's more than podcasting, though. You know what I mean? It's about the relationship. So I want you to know, but it is an amazing podcast.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Hey, you see what I was doing there? Because I was like making it like it was sex. I was like talking about the podcasting like it was sex.
I see. I picked up on that.
See, when you have to break the bit down, that's when it loses the sting.
Yeah.
I always feel like I have to break it down because Garrett, like the jokes sometimes just fly right over his head. So sometimes I have to slow them down, explain why it was funny and how it was, a stab at him.
I need to deconstruct the humor for
you.
I need to break it down to its element.
I feel like we always talk about it at the very end of the show, like when we're closing out. So in case people don't listen to the end of the show, which if you don't, shame on you. You should listen all the way to the end because you never know what's going to be said or done. But yeah, JJ has his own podcast now, the Suplex City Wrestling Podcast. Yep. And it's fun. It's actually good. Surprisingly good.
It's more than fun. It is amazing.
There you go.
As
Hype
the Miz
yourself
would
up.
say, awesome. Okay, that was kind of bad. The whole thing is it's about pro wrestling, and I love pro wrestling. I've been a pro wrestling fan my whole life, and it's the opportunity for me to not have Garrett telling me what to do and Garrett trying to like put me in a box. I get to be who I want to be. So you guys can hear the most foul, dirtiest conversations about pro wrestling you've ever... No, I'm just kidding. It's actually, the great part is it's a very serious JJ that comes each and every week talking about pro wrestling because I'm passionate about it. I love it. Yeah. And I love talking about it.
So I do the editing for it, and I'm always surprised when I listen through. I'm like, JJ didn't crack a single joke. Like, it's very, like, not that it's not, again, it's not that it's not fun or funny. Like, it's very entertaining, but I'm like, oh, it's not the goofy, crazy, make fun of Garrett JJ. It's very much like, I love wrestling, and we're going to talk about all the awesome things about wrestling, JJ. Which is very
the angle
different.
on that suplex was different than this one. And the velocity, he could have broken his femur. But he didn't. You know why? Training.
Yeah, and see that right there, Adrian, is exactly what sets me apart, is being able to break that stuff down that femur busting amazingness. And of course, it's all thanks to my co-host on the show, Scott Falder. Scott is an older dude. He's older than even me. So, I mean, I think his social security number is like 7. Okay. And Scott he has the, well, I'm just saying. And he has the ability to recall when Abraham Lincoln wrestled. And so that's just awesome. So
somehow I don't think that adds up.
Yeah, pretty. I mean, I'm not great at math, obviously. You know, I went to school in the Central Valley of California, but I'm pretty sure, as you know, if I'm doing the figuring correct, yeah, he's old. But no, it's amazing and it's a lot of fun, and yeah, it is a passion project, so it's super serious. So if you get an opportunity to listen to it, the Suplex City Wrestling Podcast, and it's kind of fun to listen to me do things a little bit differently than I do on the show. Garrett mentioned it when editing. He's like, it's like listening to another JJ. You know, it's like a totally different guy that we see on the Super Gamer Boys.
Yeah. It's almost like you have like multiple personality disorder or something. I do. That's okay.
I completely do.
That explains everything. But yeah, very good. Go check it out. Suplex City Wrestling Podcast. I think as of last week, I started putting it in the show notes. So links are in the description. You can find it down below. And check it out. But yes, and they're doing a segment for the next few weeks that's all about me, baby. All about me.
Yep. And so that's the great thing. Garrett and Adrian, I don't know if you caught this, but Garrett had never seen a professional wrestling match.
Oh, no, he's told me this.
Okay, so in his whole life, he's never seen them before. So we talked about it on the show, and we're continuing to do so. If you had an opportunity for somebody who's never seen pro wrestling, what would you show them? And so I went through the Rolodex of all the great matches, and I'm like, there are spectacles. There's Hogan versus Andre at WrestleMania 3. Do I want that 93,000 crowd of 93,000? Like, you know, I want him to see that. No. What do I want him to see? A technical masterpiece, or do I want him to see an outright fight? And so I picked Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret the Hitman Hart, 2 of the best to ever do it at WrestleMania 13 back in 97. And so Garrett sent me a message after watching his first pro wrestling match and share with me his thoughts. Garrett, you want to go ahead and share kind of how you were feeling about it?
Yeah, I think my text to you was like, dude, that match was like goofy as all get out, but that was like very wild and entertaining to watch. Like, I was not expecting that. Like, obviously it starts out where it's very much seems like fake, you know. It's just like they're taking punches at each other, which, I mean, that's the thing everyone says, like, it's fake, why do we want to watch it?
It's
so
real
at first I'm like, they're not even trying. Like, it's really like bad, like the fake punches and kicks and stuff. But then it like all of a sudden takes a turn. There's a moment where someone like I think Steve Austin like gets a cut on his head or something like that and gets like his face smashed against a bar, and all of a sudden after that it got real. Like, it seemed like the kicks were a little bit more like putting a little more umph into it. The punches hit a little harder. Yeah. Steve Austin is like literally spewing blood all over the stage because he cut himself a little deep. You know, it was like squirting all over the stage. I'm like, what the heck? Like, this is
the
crazy.
Great thing about that is the saying is that blood red is money green. So basically, because he cut himself on purpose with a razor blade, it's called blading. He cut himself in order to elicit reaction and drama, because once he does the little nick, your forehead bleeds a whole lot. So then he's getting hit, and he actually hit kind of an artery. So he was shooting blood every time his heart would beat. His blood would kind of spurt out of his forehead. And so what you were seeing was they were wrestling with the same intensity, but you're seeing the blood, and that's adding to the drama of the match. And the crowd intensity was going up because, oh man, he's hurt. And so, okay, we lost Adrian. Adrian doesn't want to hear about wrestling anymore.
No, his video's been frozen for a while, unfortunately. He must be having internet issues or something.
Yeah, so basically that's why it ends up picking up in intensity and all that. And that's why it's such a memorable match, and one of the reasons that people remember it and still talk about it to this day. Is one of the best matches at WrestleMania.
Yeah, it was great. And then the last one I watched was Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect. I think
Oh, you did watch that. Okay.
And I watched that one, and yeah, that one was great too, but just very different. Very different.
Yeah, that's a technical masterpiece. So what did you think of that, considering that that's more of like two guys really working towards trying to pin each other and beat each other?
Yeah.
It was a different match completely.
Yeah, it was definitely a little more like, I don't know, it felt a lot like the beginning of the other match. Kind of like, oh, this is kind of goofy and silly, but then they were doing some things where you could tell like they were kind of working together to do like these cool things. They're like, oh, that's really neat. Like they're really putting on the show. Like it's not just one guy against another guy. It's like, if you really look at like delve into it, it's like they're working together and helping each other to do this crazy moves on each other and flying around and chucking each other off the side of the thing and, you know, ripping his freaking outfit off. And I'm like, oh man, this is crazy. So yeah.
Now JJ,
really
I have to say that I'm pretty upset. I didn't hear any mention of the Mankind Undertaker King of the Ring Hell in a Cell match. I don't understand.
So that actually is going to be one of the matches that I bring up in another future episode very soon. That's why it hasn't been brought up yet. It's one of the matches I was going to point, because we've got this series. This week we'll be talking about tag team matches.
Okay.
We got a couple of
the
tag matches.
last 2 weeks it's been singles matches, so not this week will be tag team.
So we'll be talking tag teams this week, tag team matches. Each of us have one pick for one tag match that we'd like for Garrett to watch, and then, or anybody who's never seen a pro wrestling match. And then the following week, we'll each pick one stipulation or specialty match. And, you know, peek behind the curtain, mine is going to be Mankind versus The Undertaker at Hell in a Cell. And this is memorable for so many reasons. Some people say that what a horrible wrestling match. Mick Foley's career was cut short because of it. He was thrown off the top of the cage that had a top on it, 16 to 18 feet up high, down through a table.
Jeez.
It was so crazy. Then he climbed back up onto the cage afterwards. He had dislocated. He had a tooth that bust through his lip. He dislocated his shoulder. He had his said that his penis turned completely black because he had had a lot of problems with his kidneys, and like he had a lot of issues. Well, then he climbs up on top of the cage, and then the cage actually breaks on accident, and he had a second bump that didn't look as pretty, but it was more devastating completely. And he kept wrestling. He kept going. He was completely out of it, but he continued and finished the match. And then later asked, like, did we do the spot with the thumbtacks? And it's like, yeah, you got thumbtacks all over you, dude. You know, but he was completely out of it and had a horrible concussion. Jeez. And it's like a car crash. And it's like something that I look forward to being able to show Garrett, and that's from King of the Ring 1998.
Dang. I look forward to that one. I'll wait until you talk about on the episode, but yeah, I'll watch it. It sounds absolutely insane. Boy, so yeah, go check out the Suplex City Wrestling Podcast. As I said before, links are in the show description. It's a blast. For someone like me who's never watched a single wrestling match, I've been enjoying listening to it while I'm editing. It's great. But let's get on with it here. Today, we're going to be talking about Fortnite making its iOS return, sorta. Overwatch 2's rough week, and WWE Superstar The Miz wanting to play Johnny Cage one day. But first, let's give a quick shout out to our Patreon producers, Kajunior, Bleep Bloop, and Eddie Martin, and our Super Gamer sponsors. We have Julie Bates and Mama Mare. Thank you all so much for being fantastic people, supporting us over at patreon.com/supergamerboys. If you want to be awesome just like those folks, head over there please and support us. You can just start at just $1 a month. You can get episodes early and ad free, such as this show, as well as our Super Gamer Book Club. You get that a couple months early, and the new one that came out was that this last week or 2 weeks ago, What Remains of Edith Finch. It was a fantastic episode, really fun to do. It's just me and Adrian, no special guest or anything, but it was a blast. That game was fantastic, so check out that episode. If you're not wanting to support us over at Patreon, and you just want to kind of check out what the book club is all about, we have a free feed, so just go to any podcast app or YouTube channel, search for Super Gamer Book Club, and a free episode this month was Metroid Dread with Zech Keenan, Patrick Ellers, and Connor McCabe, which again, that was a fantastic one. Hearing you four go at it on Metroid Dread, because there's very different opinions from one certain person.
Yeah.
And it made for very interesting conversations. That's up for free right now. Go check that out. This month, remember, is Super Mario World. So if you want to listen along with us, play along with us, get jumping on Super Mario World. You can pretty much play it anywhere. I mean, if you have a Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch Online, it's on there. It's on incredible.
Every virtual console ever.
Yeah.
The cartridge is dirt cheap.
It'd be crazy if you couldn't find a copy of Super Mario World. So
right.
Play that with us, and then come listen to that episode later this month on Patreon. We'll talk more about that later. Let's give a quick shout out to Jack Sriracha and Yate for allowing us to use their music on our show. We appreciate you folks for the incredible music. It helped make our podcast just a little more chill, laid back, relaxing, a little more homey. Like we're just hanging out at my house, talking video games. I appreciate it. So go check out their stuff over on Spotify and Apple Music. Links, again, are down in the show description below. All right. It is now time to check the mail.
See, I was waiting on you, right?
Okay. Yes.
I said before we started the show, I said, Garrett, we need to come up with a mailbag.
Yeah, you said we need to come up with a bit, and we never did. I was working on something else.
Now here I am, 3 feet under the bus, trying to figure.
I was there for that conversation.
Thank
I feel
you.
like Adrian did his part.
I brought it up ahead of time. I said, let's not get left out in the cold, and here we are freezing. So you know what? You come up with the mailbag bit today. Yeah. How about that?
All right. You know what? I got
it
nothing.
Ain't that easy, huh?
Yeah, I'm sorry. You know what? I'm sorry. I apologize. I was focused. I was making the thumbnail. I told you I was trying to be proactive and make the thumbnail before the show, but I let it consume me, and then here we are. Now we have a bad show. So I apologize. That's on me. My bad. So I'll just read the questions, and next week we'll get together and we'll have the best bit you've all ever heard. The best bit you've all ever heard.
Sound effects and everything.
Sound effects and everything. At least, yeah, we'll see.
Don't promise stuff you cannot deliver.
It's too late. We have to make up for this week.
Oh man, okay. I mean, last week was pretty good. I feel like last week kind of made up for it was last week
for the last year,
and yeah, right.
I've made some pretty good bits in that time. All right, I thank you very much.
All right, this first question comes from Kajunior, and he asks, you have to build a game where cats are the protagonist and anything with a screen is the enemy. What is the genre, art style, and story? I'm thinking, let's make this game like we made the Super Game Boys game. Let's collaborate here.
Okay.
What is this game?
I'm thinking it's got to be something about cats in space. There's got to be some Star Wars-esque type of theme where they're from a planet of cats that walk on their hind legs, and that there's some type of a space opera going on.
Okay. What genre of game? What kind of game are we making it? Are we doing a strategy game? Are we doing a fighting game? Are we doing a RPG? Are we doing a racing game?
I feel like so. I kind of figured, or in my head, I imagined some sort of like text-based RPG. To be honest, I pictured it like playing on a handheld device. Like I picture this on like the 3DS or even the Playdate or even a PSP, like something like that, or Vita. Like is this something that's just like more simple, but like a deep story? Like there's a lot of backstory, a lot of cool lore, and maybe like there's some animation and stuff. But what if it's like text-based RPG with like some elements of, what if it's like a tactics game? That's what I'm thinking.
Bingo, because the enemies are the screens.
That's it.
They're an alien race with TVs for heads.
Yes, 100%. And they can take over anything else with a screen, Kojima says. So that means that
they can use them to turn on each other.
Yeah, well, but the cats have to be careful. Like, so when their spaceships are all just made out of like analog parts. So it's like very bare bones, like spaceships. Like they can't have anything digital, and all their weapons are very basic, which gives them, makes them the underdogs or the undercats, makes them the undercats. But you know what?
So the navigation is actually a litter box with pretty litter in it, and they have to crap in specific concentric circles in order to make the thing go forward and back. I don't know. We could like suss that out exactly how that works.
Maybe we make that a mini game. How about
that's a mini game? Okay, that's a little side.
But I'm thinking we should use pretty litter because it changes color if they're sick, and it's also pretty expensive, and we might be able to get them as a sponsor. Let's just think of that right now.
Okay.
Are you just trying to get Pretty Litter as a sponsor?
I got a cat, and that stuff is phenomenal. It's expensive, and I want them as a sponsor. You know, and I figured like I'll get some free stuff. You know, and
Pretty
I
Litter
don't know,
present. What's the name of the game? Pretty Litter presents. Come on. Come on, I see you.
I can't because I'm gonna be so dirty with it.
I was
Pussycat Wars, you know.
I've never seen somebody have to fight back an answer or something that they were going to say as hard as you just did right now. My goodness, you look like your head was about to pop off.
And it almost did right now. It almost did.
You thought you went back and forth so many. You were like, I can't, but I gotta, but I can't, but I gotta.
That's when we get the podcast is going to get canceled, because if you truly unleash this and you allow it to just take its real form, the podcast will be canceled.
Now you have to understand that this is something that Pretty Litter can put their name on. So when it's presented by Pretty Litter or Pretty Litter presents, you have to have an appropriate title. So give me something.
All right. Intergalactic Pussy Cats.
Sponsorship canceled. That
See,
quick.
no!
That quickly.
No!
We lost all that money.
That
all
quickly?
that litter. It's out of here. The board saw it. We're done. Shut it down.
Man.
Oh man.
Yeah,
We're being sold by Square Enix.
Great. Now we're going.
Pretty
we're
Litter
gonna
was
have to go
actually
with Tidy
watching
Cats,
live.
which is like the second. You know, it's like Tidy Cats presents Intergalactic Pussy Cats.
Oh boy.
Okay. All right. Wait. So what's the art style? We're thinking. I know I mentioned it being simple,
Cuphead.
but are we looking like? Are we going like 16-bit type thing or like? Full
No, I
3D,
feel like
or
there's a lot of
do we want like a retro look to it or
1632-bit stuff going on right now.
okay?
I think.
What if it's a VR game? It's a tactics VR game.
Oh my god! Well, what's the point of it being VR? So you have to just look around I guess you could look around the board, but that's not as
sick. Imagine
that's not.
walking
But that's
around
not
the
as
tactics board
advantageous a view as looking over the board.
and like moving the pieces around, like your little guys around, like with your hands, like it's almost like a big.
No, not with your hands. With a kitty litter scoop. See, that's how you end up moving the pieces on the. You see what I'm saying?
Scoop the kitty litter and you chuck it, and wherever it lands, that's where you can move to. That whatever the radius is, those are the spaces you can move in between. There you go. There you go. Saved it. Turn it around. And now we just got to work on the name.
It's got to work on the name. Okay, boom, did it. There you go, Junior. Go make your game and come back to us when it's done. Sir PrintsAlot asks, what's a game style or genre that might be dated that you think is due for a comeback?
Point and click.
Oh gosh, yes.
Point and click adventures or point and click based games. I think those are definitely due for a comeback. I don't know.
So I agree 180%. That's actually the exact same thing that I was going to say was point and click. And the reason for that is that I talked about Maniac Mansion not that long ago. It was a Nintendo Entertainment System game that came out from Acclaim back in the late 80s, early 90s. And so they actually have a second game that came out in the 16-bit era that I wasn't aware of called The Day of the Tentacle. And that's actually on Game Pass right now. And they have kind of remastered it. And the Day of the Tentacle is actually Maniac Mansion's sequel. And that game is fantastic. I've been playing it on Game Pass. And so, yeah, definitely point and click. That's the thing right now.
That's awesome. For me, I would have to say RTS games, real-time strategies. Not to say that there's not still some around today, but there's not as many, and I feel like they don't hit quite the same. So back in the day, like Age of Empires was all the rage.
Command and Conquer. I loved Empire Earth. Like that series was really fun. But the best one, I think the best RTS I've ever played was Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth. That game is probably the best RTS game on PC ever. I've played it a bajillion times, and it's just so incredible because you can play as like the good guys, the bad guys, all the different factions, which I always, as a kid who was super like way too into Lord of the Rings, like I just lost my mind over that. So yeah, I think RTSs should come back for sure. Because they're fun and it's just a different type of game. Like there's this, I really like the strategy aspect of it. Another one, the Warhammer 40K Dawn of War. That series was at least the first one. They came out with two more, 2 and 3. They were not good. They were horrible. But Dawn of War, the first one, like from the early 2000s, freaking amazing. So good. I'm proud of you, Garrett, because I was like 1,000% sure you were gonna say, there's not enough tactical espionage actions. I need some more of those.
I mean,
you're not wrong. Called you out.
You're not wrong. All right, whatever. You guys suck. Cool. Well, Sir PrintsAlot also asked, what's a show from your childhood that you wish you could see for the first time again?
So I know Adrian's got a lot of thoughts on this one.
Yeah.
I have one that stands out for me. Adrian, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I can. Probably X-Men. I think I would love to see the X-Men cartoon all over again. I have no doubt that I would like it as much as I do now, but just to see how that story goes, I think it would hit differently as an adult, but I think I'd end up liking it the same.
Yeah. Dude, what's yours, JJ? I'm curious because you're like 100 years old, so.
I am 100 years old. So, and my question,
they didn't even have TVs when you were kids.
We actually we didn't have remote controls because we would be the remote control. We'd have to go and like turn the dial. There was a round dial that my dad would say, hey, go change the channel. We'd go over and change it like that. So when I was a kid, I loved cartoons like most boys on Saturday mornings. I watched cartoons a lot. Well, I had six brothers. 5 of them were older brothers and 1 sister. And my older brother was 10 years older than me, and he was much bigger and would dominate the television. So I remember wanting to watch cartoons one day when I was quite young, maybe 6 years old. And he said, we're not watching cartoons. That's lame. We're going to watch Night Court. And this TV show came on, Night Court. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it, but it's a situation comedy. And so Harry Anderson as the judge at a night court in New York. And this television show from a young age shaped me with humor and timing. And I just learned so much about comedy from this show. And I was like, I don't want to watch this show for older people. And like he forced me to watch it. I fell in love with it. I couldn't get enough of it. So I learned from it comedic timing and beats. And really good comedy is music. It's music. So I love that show. I wish I could do it all over again. Just to freshly go in and watch Night Court and be totally new to it. Because even now, that stuff stands out. It's fantastic comedy.
That is the absolute last thing I thought you were gonna say was Night Court.
What did you think I was gonna say?
I thought you were gonna say maybe like a He-Man or something like that, right. or but
No, that
He said
for me
Night
that
Court.
show stands out as the very first sitcom that I ever watched and the very first adult humor. And there was a lot of adult humor. I mean, I was like 6 years old, but I just, man, it taught me so much about like, oh, how to wait for a moment before you like drop a joke or what. Oh man, I just love that. Love it so much.
That's awesome.
And Dan Fielding was a super lech, and like I have, you know what I mean? I'm pretty much that.
That's not you at all. Not in the slightest.
No.
For me, I love the show Hey Arnold.
Ooh.
I would love to go back and watch Hey Arnold again. Yeah, there's just some fantastic episodes there. And so apparently there's a movie that came out like in the last few years or something.
I was just going to ask if you watched it. It wraps everything up.
Yeah, I never watched because that's like one of the biggest things is like whatever happened to his parents. Because I think even the last episode they came out with, like they kind of alluded to something, but then like didn't really fully answer it. And so, yeah, like oh man, I love that through line kind of throughout all that, like the whole series, kind of like coming up every once in a while, and then the ending on that. I remember that being such an emotional episode for me, like as a kid, like oh my gosh, like. Is he gonna figure it out? Like what's happening? And then it just ends. Like you don't know. You're like, what?
And then 20 years later, they were like, all right, time to give you guys some closure.
Yeah. So maybe I need to watch that movie, but dude, like I would love to watch.
So you don't have to talk about this at therapy.
Yeah, right. But yeah, this just the character design and everything was so great. Like freaking Helga just being like the jerk that was secretly like in love with him, basically, and Gerald like being his best friend. Like that's all the characters fantastic. I wish I could watch it over and over and over. There's a lot of Nickelodeon shows for me though. Like it was hard to pick, but that's the one I'm like, yeah, that one actually had like a good story to it. Like again, like that through line. All the other shows on Nickelodeon were just like wild and crazy. I guess the only other one I could think of that I kept popping in my head was like All That. I loved All That.
Oh,
like,
yeah, some great bits in there.
Like that was like one of my favorite all-time shows. Like just again, talk about it's
comically
SNL.
Talented. Those kids were talented.
SNL for kids, freaking Kenan Thompson and Kellen there, like oh, freaking amazing. All right, the last story we have here
Last question.
Dummy.
Skip it.
The last question we have here is from Eddie Martin, and he asks. It's almost summer, which means it's time for movies, because apparently you're not allowed to watch movies any other time of the year. Boys,
okay.
Have any of you guys watched movies? Because you're going to jail if you did.
No.
I want to hear your Mount Rushmore of video game movies, not limited to theatrical releases. So I have my list together, so if you guys need a little more time, I can go.
Go ahead.
All right. Number 1 for me, Detective Pikachu. I think that's probably one of the best, video game movies out there. Sonic, the new. I haven't watched Sonic Hedgehog 2 that just came out. Okay. I haven't watched a new one yet, so I just 1 for now. But I actually was really surprised by 1 because I felt like after it came out, I didn't hear a lot about it, and then it came to Paramount Plus for free, and I watched it. I'm like, this is actually really good. So Sonic, Resident Evil Apocalypse from 2004. I freaking loved that movie. The first two Resident Evil movies really, but that one like sticks in my brain.
You mean like in like a best or the worst way? Because they're like all garbage. I don't know if you like.
They're not that bad. The first 2 aren't that bad. I mean,
You're talking about the ones with Mila Jovovich, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, look at the rest of the video game movies that have come out.
They're all
all awful. Like, so, I mean, in comparison to all other video game movies, I feel like it's not that bad. So yeah, Detective Pikachu, Sonic, Resident Evil Apocalypse, and then the last one is, you're gonna think I'm absolutely crazy. Lara Croft Tomb Raider, the one with
Angelina Jolie. I think you like that movie for a different reason, Morlang.
Mm-hmm.
Was that your awakening movie?
My awakening movie. No, it was a good one.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I believe you.
the story was incredible. The plot, love the plot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Tell me about it.
Oh,
I'm believing every word you say. You sound so convincing right now.
they had a Jeep. She drove around, pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
No, honestly, I don't remember a lot about it, but I remember absolutely loving it as a kid. Like we would watch it all the time. And again, compared to like other video game movies, there's not that much out there. That's
We will watch
better.
it all the time.
Think about it.
AKA, Garrett will watch it all the time at 2 a.m. when everyone else was asleep.
No, it was a family favorite.
Okay. JJ, you got something?
Do you guys have anything? Favorite video game?
Yeah, well,
Mount Rushmore video game movies?
You already brought up Detective Pikachu. I really love Detective Pikachu, and I'm not the biggest Pokemon fan, but man, I had such a blast taking my son to that. He is, and like I was pleasantly surprised at what a fun movie that is. Ryan Reynolds was amazing in that, and it had a really great little story. So that movie stands out as being really, really great. For obvious reasons, I loved the games Silent Hill, and I loved the movie Silent Hill. I thought it was a lot of fun. And then rounding it all out, Resident Evil. The original Resident Evil movie was fantastic. I don't like the other ones, like the Afterlife and stuff like that. I was a huge fan of Resident Evil, and I loved the chick from it. Oh, she was amazing. So maybe it's just like his Tomb Raider thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like it could be that.
Hey, look, as long as you guys own up to it, I'm gonna let you have it. But as long as you keep lying to me, I'm gonna grill you on it.
For what it was, I thought that getting into the story of Resident Evil and seeing it on the big screen, later it would just come out and to be on the little screen, like direct to DVD stuff. But like the original thing, to see what game you played several games and loved them, to see them come onto the big screen was cool. That was really cool. So it could be that my nostalgia for the games and my love of the games has kind of changed my opinion of it. Mm-hmm. If I were to watch it now, I'd probably be like, what a crappy movie. But I just remember going like, this is so neat seeing the story on screen, you know?
Alrighty.
Okay.
You're up.
All right. Here we go. So my top 4 is definitely going to be Pokemon the first movie. That was the one that, I mean, it's in the name. It was the first Pokemon movie that we got in the States.
Yeah.
I don't know a single person my age who saw that movie and saw Ash turn to stone and didn't start crying. So that is a landmark as far as video game movies go. And I think that's a genuinely good video game movie. The next one for me would probably be, which also something you need to watch, Garrett, is Final Fantasy VII, Advent Children.
Oh yeah, I just saw on Wario 64. It was on sale the other day, and I was like, I need to
Press
pick
that
it
button.
up.
Oh.
I need to figure it out.
You could probably just buy it on oh wait, PlayStation doesn't sell movies anymore. Shoot. Nope. Where can you watch that at?
I'm sure there's somewhere I could find it.
Gotta
Wink.
be. Y'all be careful. We got our lines are tapped. You don't want the feds in here. Yeah. Final Fantasy VII, Advent Children. Of course, I'm pretty sure I wore a good number of DVD players, including my PS2 out, watching that one over and over again. God, what's another one? Video game movies, dude. Video game movies. Come on, brain.
Yeah, it's hard.
Oh, does Wreck-It Ralph count?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, I'd
why
say
not?
yeah. The first one though, because the second one was not as good.
Yeah, I never watched the second one. The first one was fantastic.
Keep it there. Yeah, the first one was great. So I'll say yeah, the first Wreck-It Ralph. What am I at? 3? That was 3.
Yep, that was 3.
And then for my last one, ooh, that's a tough one. Maybe I should get a So Bad It's Good one in there.
Oh, dude, Advent Children is on Amazon. You can buy it for like $8.
Oh, there you go.
And 4K, baby.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I want to hear what you think.
Now, should I wait until I play the rest of Final Fantasy, or is it okay to watch it?
So, Advent Children takes place after the original 7 campaign. So,
okay.
You should be okay to watch it.
Okay.
Crisis Core happens before all of this.
Okay, so this isn't going to affect anything since I haven't technically played the entire game before.
Right.
I've only ever played the remake.
Right. You get the gist of the story in the remake, so you should be able to follow along with what happens in Advent Children.
Cool.
And then for my 4th, oh god, this is tough. I don't know a whole lot of video game movies now that I'm trying to think about it.
You could choose Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within. I just saw
we're
that.
Not doing that.
I just
not very good. No, we're not.
I just
doing
saw
that.
It's linked right here underneath Advent Children.
Yeah, I know it is, but we're not picking.
Or Warcraft. I'm just naming things that are listed here underneath.
Did you watch that one?
No, I didn't watch it.
I don't know. I can't think of a 4th.
Doom with The Rock.
Okay, there we go. I'll take that one. That's my so bad it's good. There you go. That movie is legitimately awful. Legitimately terrible.
It was before The Rock started making good movies.
Yeah. Or yeah. Woo, man, that one. Oh my god. Now I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking about when they tried to do that little segment where it was first person. After he got that little demon gene or whatever that was, and he got superpowers. Oh my god! Oh, get out of here! That movie sucks so bad, man. How do you mess up the Doom? Like they're like, here's Doom. Do whatever you want with it, and then they go, okay, here's this.
We have Pansu in the chat. First time chatter. The first Silent Hill movie was very decent. I guess I would add Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. Not like great or anything, but fun enough. And at the time, it was cool to see the characters of that kind of detail in a movie. So I think, I don't know if he was responding actually to JJ's talking about the Silent Hill deal there. But he says, so he likes Advent, or they like Advent Children there. So
yeah,
good one. I'm excited to check it out.
The aesthetic of Advent Children, we just now caught up to it with 7 Remake. And Advent Children came out in 2005. That's how good, like ahead of the time that those look. Because you're rendering for film, so you don't have to worry about the limitations of a console. But we're just now in, I think it was 2019 when 7 Remake came out, that we're just now catching up to that kind of fidelity in games. It's crazy.
Okay. Yeah, that is insane. All right, cool. That's it for the mailbag segment. Thank you all so much for writing in your questions. If you guys have any questions for the show, for next week's show, you can leave them anywhere. DM us on social media, leave it in the comments on our YouTube video once we post it, or join us on our Discord. It's supergamerboys.com/Discord to join that. And then we have a section there where you can drop those questions for next week's show. Now, it is time for the Nerdy Newds.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the Nerdy News!
Perfect. Absolutely perfect every time. Nailed it. This first news story comes from Matt Kim over at IGN, and they write, Xbox Cloud Gaming brings Fortnite to PC and iOS devices for free. Epic Games and Fortnite are partnering to bring Fortnite to Xbox Cloud Gaming. The mega hit Battle Royale is now available to play on PC and even iOS and iPad devices through streaming. Anyone interested in playing Epic's Battle Royale just needs a Microsoft account and an iOS device or Windows PC with internet to begin playing immediately through a browser. There's no need to subscribe to Game Pass, as Fortnite will remain free to play through Xbox Cloud Gaming. Okay, so I didn't read that earlier. I did not realize that, because I think I even mentioned to you, JJ, that you have to have a subscription, but you don't. Xbox Cloud Gaming lets users play games instantly without needing to install a game onto their device locally. The service is normally part of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, but Fortnite does not require membership to play. Instead, players can log in with their Microsoft account through xbox.com/play on a web browser to begin playing Fortnite. The browser-based version of Fortnite means players can circumvent Apple's decision to delist Fortnite from the iOS App Store. NVIDIA did something similar for a limited time when it brought Fortnite to its streaming platform, GeForce Now. So this was just very interesting news because there was obviously a lot of controversy. Was that last year? 2 years ago now? When Apple Epic didn't want to play nice with Apple for good reason. Apple's like, hey, you're making money on the side without us. We want to cut. And Epic's like, no, we're using our own in-game store. We're not going to use your app store to sell cosmetic items and V-Bucks and that type of thing. And so Apple's like, fine, then bye-bye. Like, your app's gone. And it's been like that, yeah, for a couple years now where you cannot play Fortnite on your iPhone. Until now. And we kind of talked a little bit about it before the show, but what do you guys think about this? And how long do you think it takes before Apple cracks down again? Or you think we're going to hear some fits from Apple or? Yeah,
I think we were talking about this before the show started, and I was saying that I think there's going to be some way that they're going to figure out a way to find out if you're visiting or if you're trying to stream from an iOS or an Apple device, and when you try to launch Fortnite, it's just going to redirect to like a splash page that says, reads the situation. That's the only thing that makes sense, because when you click on it
to like a Forbes or Bloomberg article of the whole lawsuit thing.
Yeah, because when you click on you're basically in a web browser, right? So when it knows that you're right, when it knows that you're in an Apple web browser or on an Apple device, and you click on that link to go to that streaming portal, it'll just redirect it for that one title. That's the only thing that I can think that they can do to stop it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on how the browser works. Like when you tap on a game, is it actually loading another web page, or is it essentially just streaming a video feed to your phone? 'Cause if it's a video feed, like an interactive video feed, they can't really stop that, because as far as the device knows, it's like, oh, it's just displaying an image, and it doesn't know what it is. It's like, oh, they just know it's from Xbox. But if it's actually is loading another web page that has, obviously URL links to like Fortnite and, in the code and stuff like that, then yeah, I could totally see them doing that. But obviously not knowing how the back end of Microsoft and how they made their cloud thing, it's hard to know. But it's interesting.
If it's anything like the PlayStation, where it's just you're playing it and you're like remote playing, then I don't see it being an issue. How are they going to know that it's on the iPhone?
Yeah, that's true. Because technically, you could just remote play from your PlayStation or Xbox before that and do that, and play Fortnite. So,
but there's on the back end that there's data that shows what kind of device that you're playing on. That's how they get those metrics, so they can tweak performance and fix any bugs or anything like that with specific gateways, like consoles that are using it. So yeah, it should be easy for them to tell if it's an Apple device.
Ultimately, They did that 2.5 years ago or something like that, and it's all about money. They weren't going to be monetized the way that they were hoping to through the iPhone. So Epic pulled it, and I don't see them doing it for very long. If they feel like they're losing money, and they'll probably go a few months, get their ducks in a row, and start making some waves.
Yeah, I guarantee you that Apple is not. If they know, I'm sure they know now. Of course, the story's been out a couple of days. But I guarantee you that they are not going to let the same people who tried to, get one over on them and did successfully, by the way, make them have to renegotiate or start to renegotiate their contracts with app developers. If they found a way to get back on this platform, you better believe that there have been meetings at Apple about how can we cut this out. And they've been calling Microsoft and being like, hey, this ain't happening. At least on our products.
I think that's the best part, is that it's Microsoft helping them. Like the fact that it's like
Microsoft, I guarantee you, is like, hey bro, we didn't really do nothing. We just put Game Pass here. I don't know what you're talking about. You better go talk to Epic.
Yeah. Pansy in the chat has a couple things too. Says it is a neat way for consumers to test drive the cloud gaming because it is free. Like you don't have to have, a subscription. So in that sense, Microsoft is brilliant because it's like, hey, test out our cloud gaming with this free Fortnite game, and check this out. And then if you like it, sign up for Game Pass Ultimate, and then you can play all these other games. So I didn't even think about that. Like, so from Microsoft's point of view, this makes sense. Like, put out this huge killer app that everyone wants that isn't available on there because of the whole controversy, and then to make it free like that, genius. But yeah, and then I had the same idea and like that, and Panzu kind of mentions it again, depending on how their infrastructure, how Microsoft is actually streaming it to the device. Like really, Apple, if they really are like drastic times call for drastic measures kind of thing, they could just like hit the red button and shut down all of like kick off Xbox the cloud streaming, which that's already been a controversy. Remember, like wasn't there right
they
before,
didn't want to put it on there because
and technically it's not on there, remember, because you can't get it through the app store, it's through a browser. So
right,
Apple already has beef with Microsoft as well. So it's really funny, like the two people Apple has beef with, and they're teaming up now and like, no, we're giving you both. You got cloud gaming and you got Fortnite.
That's why I think Xbox cloud gaming is probably going to end up getting blocked.
Yeah, I like 100% altogether. Like I think they could, which that's a whole other thing in itself, like a whole other can of worms, like the whole. I mean,
having them there does having Xbox there does Apple no favors.
Right.
Like, what do they get out of that? They don't get any money out of it.
Censoring the internet. People are gonna lose their minds over that if they're like censoring what sites they can go to.
It's not like you could just not use an iPhone and go buy something else, but.
No, it's that you're right. You're 100% right. It's more though just the idea that like, which Google does every day. I mean, Google isn't censoring, but they what's the word I'm looking for? Curate your search results. Mm-hmm. So I mean, Apple could essentially just do the same thing, where unless you type in a very specific URL, you're not going to find Microsoft or something like that. Yogurt Archangel says Apple makes more enemies than allies, and then he also asks, Adrian, is that a rice cooker over your shoulder?
Yes, it is. Thank you for asking. Would you like some rice?
I would love some rice. I love it.
Good, I'll get some started.
That's the second time we've talked about that rice cooker tonight.
Yeah, it is.
That rice cooker is coming clutch. All right, when it wasn't a whole lot, you throw a couple of cups of rice. Season that bad boy up a little bit and have some good old dinner, okay?
Oh, so good. So yeah, that's it. Not much more to that, but I don't know. Well, right now we're all just waiting on Apple's response. Like, okay, where's the next? Where's the counter? Where's the counter? And yeah, I'm sure it's coming.
Now, you guys each have Game Pass. Do you guys, either of you, play on your phones?
Very rarely. I only tried it because in order to try out the cloud gaming as a feature, but
right, you tried it, but were you compelled to want to do it? Sitting in the doctor's office, playing off your phone, playing Game Pass.
I think it's a viable option.
I don't think a lot of people.
Jokes on you. I haven't been to the doctors in 10 years.
I'm the wrong person to ask, though.
Okay. All right, I don't think there's a huge market of people playing Game Pass games on their phone. I don't think that's what those games were optimized for, and I just don't think there's a whole lot of people that are doing that. So yeah, it does suck that people who wanted to play it on the iPhone aren't able to do so, but I don't think there's a huge market of people playing it on their phones. I could be wrong.
Yeah, but you got to think about a small number in a market of billions is still a lot of money, right? There's billions of iPhones out there and iPads and Apple computers and all that different kind of stuff. So even if a small number of them are playing, that's probably still a couple of million of people, which if they're spending a lot of money on transactions, that's money Apple's not getting.
I just Googled some numbers to see, because I was curious after JJ asked that, like, okay, like how many people are using this? And as of April 26th of this year, Microsoft says more than 10 million people have streamed games on Xbox Cloud Gaming. So not not just 10 million streams, 10 million people. But I mean, it doesn't say here how much they're actually using it. But I mean, that's not bad. Like, I don't know.
We can say out of those 10, maybe 2 are consistently streaming.
Probably, which I mean,
on mobile.
Yeah.
So that's a potential market of 2 million.
Yeah. But yeah, we're 100% like not the right demographic. Like I work from home, don't ever leave the house except for, to go to a grocery store maybe, and then, go to church on Sunday, where like I don't go anywhere to work, and I don't go anywhere to do anything because I'm a homebody. I had to sit around, play video games and play with my kids. So, and
if I bring something with me, it's probably I'm not reaching for my phone. I'm reaching for like my Game Boy or something else.
Exactly. Like I have like the 3DS, I have a PSP, I have the Switch. Like I got all those handheld devices now. Yeah. It's it'll be interesting to see the reaction, but at this point, even though the numbers for streaming are less than regular, gaming numbers, obviously, I'm curious if that'll jump up now with Fortnite. Like, is Fortnite compelling enough to bring people to the streaming service? Like, that'll be an interesting thing to see, because it might be like a bunch of people jump on there and they're like, this actually isn't, that great. But I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe it actually is.
Don't you remember all those articles where they were like, teachers were finding all their kids playing Fortnite under their desk in school back when it was on iPhone?
Yes. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Oh.
I guess you're onto something there. My son would
have been expelled from school.
Yeah, but he would have tried it. He would have definitely, if it's all his friends were doing it, he would have tried to do it.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, 100%. Pantsu here says too, like, yes, the streaming is great for trying games before downloading them, which I get that. Yeah, but it's also if you have the console though, because I think you can stream through the console too. Like I can stream on my PC, you can stream through the console. So it's more even like just the mobile aspect of it that just seems unnecessary. But again, like obviously in this case, it's not unnecessary. This is going to be great for Fortnite and for Microsoft, I'm sure.
For now, you better go get your rounds in while it's still here.
Yeah, well, it's still here. All right. This next news story, Overwatch 2 has lost 99% of its Twitch audience in a week. So the Overwatch 2 beta launched last week, a pivot of the original plan for the game, which was going to be a grand release of both multiplayer overhaul and single-player content. But Blizzard has decided the multiplayer revamp needed to be pushed live sooner so the game can go back to getting updates again. And for a moment there, it looked like Overwatch is set to have a massive resurgence in popularity. But a week makes quite a difference, and gamers have a short attention span if they're not kept engaged. Overwatch 2 absolutely shattered records with 1.5 million concurrent viewers on Twitch, boosted partially by people wanting to check out more or less every big-name streamer on the platform playing the game, while others were motivated by beta access drops that were going on during the streams, so they could get in on the action themselves. But that enthusiasm seems to have been short-lived. About a week after the record was set, Overwatch has lost 99% of those viewers. At the time of this writing, viewership is down from its peak of 1.5 million to about 15,000. The article goes on and on. This is a Forbes article, by the way, by Paul Tassi. The moral of the story, though, is kind of twofold here, I feel like. The first thing is that people were only really engaged and only actually cared about it because there was free stuff they're giving away.
Bingo.
And then B, once they got in and played the game, everyone realized this game is the same as Overwatch. Like I feel like that's been the general consensus on the internet is this is Overwatch 1.5.
I'm right there with him.
Adrian, you had a chance to play it, right? You want to share some thoughts?
I played a few rounds.
Overwatch 2.
So there's definitely a few like core changes that they've made where it's 5v5 now instead of 6v6, which is the original format. A couple of players they have reworked to they play way differently than they originally did. But I mean, that's stuff that you could have pushed in an update for the original game. I don't really understand where they're getting the idea that this is enough to warrant a full sequel of a game. In my opinion, I don't get it. This all really could have been a huge, like, you know, you could say it's like Overwatch, 2.0 in the sense of software updates, but it's not Overwatch 2, right? I don't see anything in here that warrants it being called 2. Like, they've added modes before, so why is adding a PvE mode enough to make it a sequel? It sounds like it's, I don't know. Sounds like a little bit of a cash grab in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think it's backfiring.
Yeah, and I mean, as far as the numbers too, I was gonna bring it up, and Pansy brings up in the chat too. Like, the numbers are useless because obviously it was inflated because people just wanted the free stuff. But even still, like, even looking at the numbers at the end of the week after all the free stuff was gone, that's still low. Like, that's still low even compared to like what regular Overwatch normally gets. It's just interesting. People like immediately either left Overwatch 2 to go back to Overwatch 1, or they went off and just played other games, whatever games like Dead by Daylight, whatever the top streaming games are that's going on right now. So either way, whether the numbers were inflated or not with that 1.5 million, if anything, that just plays into like people didn't care about the game, they cared about free stuff, A, and B, like 15,000 is still like not huge. So it's kind of like, oh, obviously they,
it's wild, man. Like, I don't know where that game. I'm a huge Overwatch fan. Like, I was there when they were doing the betas, when they were doing the console betas, all that different kind of stuff back in, what was that, 2015, when they were originally doing that kind of stuff. I got the collector's edition when it came out, all of that. So for me to see them kind of just do whatever with this series is kind of disheartening. But that's kind of been the attitude around Blizzard for a while with, World of Warcraft or Diablo. So I guess they just, are trying to get that attitude towards all their franchises at this point. I don't understand what's going on over there, but
yeah, it's sad, really.
They're not who they used to be.
Yeah, no. I think like the numbers got conflated pretty quickly. And then once they realized that, hey, there's nothing to this, it's not that fun, and they just started dropping off. And when you see like, oh, nobody's playing it anymore, it's like, what's the hot new thing? Yeah. What's the thing? People are always looking for new. Yeah. And it just didn't hold people's attention.
Yeah, 100%. And now, though, I'm curious. They're planning on releasing this as like a full release, right? Like, you'll go out and buy a disc for $60 for or is it going to be a free upgrade? Do we know?
So here's the thing, right? The only real new thing for Overwatch 2 is PvE. All the stuff that they're doing, all the changes for PvP stuff, is gonna just be an update for Overwatch 1.
Okay, so the multiplayer is just a free update.
Right. But the new I almost said competitive, cooperative mode, that is going to be only in Overwatch 2. So essentially you'd be paying $60 full price for just the PvE mode.
Story mode?
Yeah, it's like a campaign.
Okay, but it's interesting.
Which, if it's good enough, I wouldn't mind.
The fact that from the beginning it's all just a free update, then why not just
make it all a free update or you know what, you can even charge for $30 and you get all this stuff. I don't know. This is
weird. Because even the article mentioned like they've been holding off on updates for years or whatever on their main game.
It's been a long time since we got a major update for that game.
Yeah, so it's like why? Like, what was the point? Why not? Why? I don't know. Blizzard losing their marbles over there. They got all sorts of craziness happening, and it just doesn't make sense. So,
but we still got Overwatch 1. So,
I mean, and not to say Overwatch 2 can't be good. Like, obviously,
no, I don't want it to fail, but in the slightest. I'm just trying to look at the situation. Call a spade based on the evidence
currently it's just not there.
And the analysis that we have, and that's kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed it turns around, but we'll see.
We will see. This last news story comes from IGN, written by Adele Ankers. And I put this one in here for JJ. again, we talked about his wrestling show at the beginning of the episode here, Suplex City Wrestling Podcast. Go check that out if you haven't. But this story, like I said, IGN by Adele Anchors writes, WWE Superstar The Miz wants to play Mortal Kombat's Johnny Cage. And the quote here is, "I've been working on my splits." The former WWE champion is so serious about the role, he's been putting in the work to hopefully get cast as Johnny Cage in the next Mortal Kombat movie. If you guys haven't seen it, I think it's on HBO Max still. The first Mortal Kombat movie. Actually not terrible. I don't know. It's kind of fun.
The 95 one?
No, the new one.
Oh.
It was fine.
Okay.
It was okay.
It was
like it didn't make my Mount Rushmore, obviously. Speaking on Ryan Satin's Out of Character podcast per comicbook.com, Miz admitted he began training to play the character shortly after people on social media started fan casting him for the role. "I've been working on my splits. I've been working on my kicks," Miz declared. "As soon as I saw that Mortal Kombat was out and there was no Johnny Cage yet, and my name was literally trending worldwide #1, we want Miz as Johnny Cage, I was like, if they want that to happen, I need to basically make sure that I'm prepared and ready, that if that opportunity presents itself, then I will be ready and focused." The article kind of goes on and on, kind of with more quotes and stuff. But JJ, you're
So
the
this
wrestling
is actually-
expert. Give it to us.
Yeah, so this has actually been going on for a couple of years where some of his fellow wrestlers have talked about that. And Dolph Ziggler is another one that's a WWE superstar who was hoping that The Miz would go and become a Johnny Cage in a Mortal Kombat movie. Funny enough, The Miz is one of the very best heels or bad guys in pro wrestling because he's super punchable. Like he's not like a bad guy that's like cool, or it's like, man, he's so awesome, like a cool Lex Luthor. He's a bad guy that you think you can kick his butt, and you want to kick his butt. He came into WWE as a reality star. He was actually on MTV's The Real World originally. Showed up in the WWE after going to training and everything, and he started off. He's a good-looking guy. He's got a lot of charisma, ridiculous charisma. And he has been WWE champion on 2 different occasions, multiple-time Intercontinental champion, tag team champion. He's not the greatest in ring, but his character work and his bad guy stuff is top-notch, just super top-notch. And everybody just completely hates that guy. He does have a reality show with his beautiful, beautiful wife, Maurice. She's a French woman, The Miz and Mrs. And it's a great little reality show, completely scripted. It's kind of cheesy, just like most of those things are. But yeah, I could see him doing the Johnny Cage thing. They've talked about it for a couple of years. Obviously has a resemblance. There was a time when he actually got, when he first came to WWE, that he was eating a piece of chicken near somebody's bag. And he wasn't quite over their bag, but the wrestler said, "Hey, dude, you're getting chicken all over my bag." And he's like, oh, dude, I'm sorry. And they got mad at him, and they were like, "Hey, you're just eating chicken, you're getting all over the place." And they kicked him out of the locker room, and they were ribbing him, and they made him get dressed for a year in closets, janitor closets, and stuff like that. They wouldn't allow him to dress with all the guys. And it was because he was a reality star, and they were screwing with him. And it took him a while for them to, like, allow him back in. You know.
Jeez. So would you support the push for The Miz as Johnny Cage?
100%. Like, he's also been on Dancing with the Stars. He's a phenomenal person. Like, so I think that he's fun to watch. He's charismatic as heck. I think that he would do Johnny Cage a great service by playing him in a Mortal Kombat movie.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know The Miz at all, but just looking at that picture, I'm like, he seems like a Johnny Cage, like just full of himself. I'm #1. I'm the best of the best. Like, I don't know. He just has that look, like you said, a very punchable person. So I'm like, yeah, he looks like this is a douche. Like, he looks like someone you just want to beat up. And like,
exactly, looks like a douche. And like, Garrett, the thing is, guys like you look at that and go, I think I could beat him up. I think I could take him. And that's what makes him so popular and so good at what he does.
Cool. Yeah. Well, that was a fun one. I thought, I'm like, okay, you know what? Mortal Kombat, if they come out with a sequel, why not? Like, make it as crazy as possible. Bring in more characters. That's probably the biggest thing with the first one is the limited, there was like some major characters from the series that they like didn't have. It's like, oh, okay, that is an interesting choice. So, we'll see if we ever get a Mortal Kombat sequel from Warner Brothers there. All right, that is it for the Nerdy Newds this week. Now it is time for our Patreon ad. This is a part of the show where I tell you to go over to patreon.com/supergamerboys and support us over there. If you love what we're doing here, love what we're making, head over there. You can support us starting at just $1 a month. $1 gets you episodes early and ad-free. So right after this show, if you're not catching it live or if you missed part of it, you could jump on your Patreon, download the episode, listen through it, because I'll jump on there, edit it, upload it, and you have it right away. Also, you get our Super Gamer Book Club about a couple months early. And actually, well, I mean, for the case of the Metroid Dread one, that one was a January episode, so you got that one really early. So, check it out. You can get book club episodes early. You get our show notes for free the day before, so you know what we're going to be talking about. Leave your own comments, questions, concerns about the show. At the $5 level, the $10 level gets you shout outs in the show as a sponsor. $15 a month, we have the Patreon producer tier where you can pitch a segment. We'll give it a shot on the show, see how it goes. We have a lot of fun kind of collaborating with our producers there and kind of come up with ideas here and there. So support us at Patreon. We very much appreciate it. It helps keep the lights on, show running, helps us make cool things. You can also subscribe on Twitch. And remember, if you have Amazon Prime, you have Prime Gaming, where you could subscribe for free each and every month. You have to remember to do it, though. Shoot that our way. $0. It costs you $0. We get $5, and we very much appreciate it. And you get some funny emotes with our faces. So check it out. All right, that's all I have for the ad. Let's get back to the show. All right, it's now time for Watcha Playin. JJ, what have you been playing, sir?
So I've been playing more Archvale. I've been playing a little bit of that. And also, I can't think of the name of it, but there's that moving game that my daughter has been, the Unpacking game, I think it's called. Oh my God. Like, I want to sometimes stab myself in the eye with a rusty fork. Or
what?
Or with a spork playing that game, because I feel like I made a promise to my daughter. I'm like, hey, we're gonna spend one-on-one time together, like just you and Dad, and we'll play whatever you want to play. And she's like, I want to play the Unpacking game, Dad. And I'm like, okay, anything but that. And then she's like, no, I really want to play that. And I'm like,
you're not a fan of it?
Dang. Oh no. No, rusty spork, buddy. Like, you don't understand. When you, look, when you are forced to play with your child a game that you hate and that you think is stupid and a waste of your time, and you have to pretend like you're having a good time and not be negative about it.
I love how you just look over your shoulder. Like, is she listening right now? She's in the doorway, just like. Actually,
funny enough. Hey, Emma, come here. Come here. Yeah, my daughter just walked down here and stood in the doorway. So
Emma, don't listen to your dad. You have good taste in games.
All right, go on. That was awkward. she couldn't hear you guys right now, but she came down into the basement to, I don't know what, probably just to spy
see what you were doing. Yeah,
she probably,
or to see if I wanted to play.
She knew you were talking.
Unpacking.
She knew you were talking about her. Her ears started ringing. She's like,
"Yeah,
oh, he's doing it again." Yeah. Ran down the stairs, caught you in 4K. That's why. Now, why don't you like it? Because now Adrian talked about it, how incredible it was, and you're talking about like it's trash.
Adrian acted like there was a story to it and stuff like that. And I guess if you were paying attention, yeah. But I got a short attention span, dude. So I'm looking to be entertained, and it just seems like it's just packing into a room, and you're like unpacking stuff. You're like, where do you put these things? And it's just super mindless.
Is it a short attention span, or are you just falling asleep like you did in like Endgame?
Dang, that hurt. More of the latter.
Or just like you're falling asleep, and then she's like nudging you and waking you up for like the hard parts, and you're like, you have no idea what's happening, and you
God,
just
it's like
sleep.
you're in my house. It's like you're in my house. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, I know you. I've known you for long enough. I know you too well, probably. Adrian, what have you been playing?
I've been busting out some Mario World, getting ready for a book club. So been cruising through that pretty good, making good pace. And then 2 more Playdate games came out today.
Yes, Playdate Monday.
Yeah, so I've been messing with those. One is called Flipper Lifter, where it's so there's you're at a hotel, or that's the first stage I've played at least. Okay. And there's an elevator right in the middle, and there's penguins that come from each floor. They come out of the rooms and the doors. Okay. And you use the crank to lift the elevator up and down between floors and take the penguins where they want to go. So like there'll be a penguin on the first floor, and then you take them up to the 3rd floor, and then there'll be one on the 4th floor. You got to take them down to the 2nd floor, and you have to do all this before the timer goes out for each one, or you lose. And then they add more and more floors on top of each one. So now you're trying to go all the way up to the top one, and then bring these down to the 2nd one, and then don't forget about the 3rd one and bring it down to the 1st, and then go back up to the 4th and bring it down to the 2nd.
That sounds amazing.
It's pretty stressful, actually.
Sounds like a lot of fun though. Oh man.
So that's that one. And then the other new one that came out this week is called, oh, hold on. I was in Flipper Lifter right there. It's called Echoic Memory. It's more of right now, the only thing that's happened is it's more of a visual novel at this point. Okay. Where it'll tell the story so, in so far, and then it'll ask the main character will ask themselves a question like, for a good example, for the first one, you're having a dream that you're in a club, in a party, right? Mm-hmm. And you're the DJ, and music is playing while this scene is going, and at one point, the music will stop and everybody will get upset, and then you'll go, what kind of music was I playing again? And then it'll have like 3 different things. It doesn't tell you to listen for the music, but it'll have like 3 different sets of music, and you have to observe the scene and stuff like that in details to know which one you was playing. And choose the right one to keep it going.
So it's like you got to be aware of all of your surroundings, like within the game,
the entire time,
because you never know what they're going to ask and when they're going to ask.
Exactly, because you could be like,
really cool,
right? Like what drink did I buy for that girl again, or what bus stop did? I'm sure like stuff's going to come up for like, the future. So that's a pretty neat idea.
That's cool. That's
testing really your memory, yeah.
Man, I want my Playdate so bad. I'm so excited. I'm so freaking excited for that thing to come, because every game you talk about, it sounds like a blast. Like nice, short little bite size, like cool little games. And
then I want JJ to get his too, because every game's going to be unpacking. It's going to be 24 sets of unpacking.
No!
Yes.
He's going to love it. You're going to love it whether you like it or not.
Whether I like it or not, yep.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that. For me, there's 2 games I've been playing. Phasmophobia in VR. You guys all know I love some Phasmophobia. Me and my brother played a lot. It's our bonding game. I don't get to talk and hang out with my brother a lot, but when we play Phasmophobia, that's our time. So, and I've had the Oculus Quest 2 for a few months. But as far as multiplayer games, didn't really have a ton of other people who had them or played multiplayer games. One time I tried to play with Zech with something, and then his headset ended up dying. So it's just like, we never got to play. But anyways, I convinced my brother to buy a Oculus Quest 2, and he's been loving it. He basically keeps it plugged into his computer though, because you can do the Oculus Link and play all your Steam games and Oculus games from your PC on there, which is a genius idea. And that's how you have to play Phasmophobia. There's no native app for the Quest 2. But yeah, we jumped in there, and dude, that game is like scary just on its own. When you're in that world in VR, looking around, trying to hunt these ghosts, oh man, there's so many times where all of a sudden the ghost starts hunting, and usually in the game, you just, run over, go hide in a closet, go hide in a locker, whatever, turn off your flashlight, sit there. When you're in VR, it is so scary because, I mean, first of all, it's muscle memory to like use certain controls on a keyboard. So when it starts hunting, you're just like flustered, like, oh, what am I doing? Where, you totally forget the map. Like, where's the locker? Oh, it's over there. Okay, run, get to the locker, fumbling with the door, trying to get it open. Just like, come on, stupid door. Like, oh man, it's so stressful because not that the controls are bad, but I think part of it being obviously very immersive, and then also just new controls. Like there's no muscle memory there, so you're just like freaking out. Like drop your flashlight, you're picking it up, trying to stick it back in your pocket so it doesn't. Oh man, it was a blast. We had a lot of fun. So go check that out if you guys have a Quest 2 as well and you want to play with us. Hit us up because you can have it with 4 players. It just sounds absolutely crazy, chaos running around in 4-player. And then I also have played Nintendo Switch Sports, which came out, that was this last week, right? It's pretty, I think so. Pretty fresh.
A week or two ago.
I know there's a lot of people online kind of giving it I don't know. A lot of people are giving it a hard time. I think they're like, it's no Wii Sports, and to that I say, you're right, but I don't think it makes it worse than Wii Sports. It's just different. I think it's just as good, but just different. Other than like, I don't have any complaints really with any of the games on there. I mean, some of them are just a little wonky. What is it, the Cambra, whatever the sword one is. That one's like just weird just because of the rules of the game, but I don't think the gameplay is bad. It's just like the rules of it are weird, and so it plays out weird on a Switch.
I heard that there are games that are from Wii Sports that aren't on there. Like they don't even have all the Wii Sports games on there. Is that true?
No, yeah, they don't. Yeah, they don't, because they don't have baseball.
That's wild.
So they have 6 games. They have bowling, they have tennis, they have badminton, they have that Cambra or whatever the sword one was, sword fighting, soccer, and did I mention volleyball? They have volleyball. And then they're adding golf in the fall. It's coming as a free update. They're working on. That was something they announced. So that's what I'm stoked for. Honestly, I bought it just for bowling and golf. As my bowling and golf machine.
Yeah, you better run away to Switch Sports.
The superior golfing game.
No,
Mario.
You better run away to Switch Sports and stay there because you know where not to show up.
But so we played like quite a few rounds of bowling. Obviously, my wife kicked my butt every
golf,
time.
By the way, I don't know. Did you play any golf?
Anytime you want to hit the links, I'm ready.
Not on Switch Sports because it's not out
yet.
Not
he's like, no, I don't want nothing to do with any golf at all. Like,
I can wait for the update. You guys, Nintendo, you don't have to put it out right now.
No, Adrian's referring to that one time we had a really close match in Mario Golf.
Whoa,
it was very
the way I remember it was a beating. That it was like a Tyson fight in the late 80s, dude. Like, well, you're remembering it completely differently.
I've heard it both ways.
Yes, of course you have.
Even you've told it both ways. Right?
Oh man, but no, I really enjoyed the Switch Sports. I think people are giving it a harder time than they should be. Like, it's not Wii Sports, but it's also not terrible either. Like we had a blast. I thought the volleyball has a lot of controls to it because you have to know how to like bump, how to set, how to spike, how to jump, how to block. Like there's a lot to it, but I don't know. Like I had a blast. My wife didn't like it. She's like, there's too much to remember. I'm like, I don't know. I thought it was really, really fun. But the bowling, yeah, obviously, like I was trying to say before, like the bowling is a classic. It feels just like the original bowling. And of course, my wife beat me all 3 times we've played it because she's a freaking pro. So whatever. There is a mode where you can actually use the leg strap. So I have a leg strap that I got from the Ring Fit Adventure. I haven't been able to test that mode yet. It's like shootout mode in soccer. I'm curious to try that out and see what it's like. But
you have to report back.
Yeah, I'll let you guys know. I'll try it out this next week and see what's going on there. But apparently, you actually have to kick. You actually have to do something. Wii Sports wants you to move.
You have
can't
to
just
move.
Sit on the couch.
These sports want you to sport.
You got to be sporting, dude. So yeah, that's it. That's what I've been playing. And that's it for the show this week. Thank you all so much for listening. We appreciate each and every one of you who has stopped by the Twitch stream tonight, who are watching on YouTube right now, who are listening later on podcast services. Love all you guys. And if you think of it, please give us a thumbs up on YouTube if you can. If you're on Twitch, follow us. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Do all the things. Review us, rate us on all your podcast apps. Apple Podcasts, that helps tremendously. If you really, really, really love what we do and you want to help support the show, go over to patreon.com/supergamerboys. Like I said, just $1 a month, you get episodes early and ad free. If you support us at more, there's some other fun perks. And our goal is to hit that $100 a month so we can bring you tentative title of Super Later Boys. The more I say it, I'm not really sold on it. It's kind of I don't know.
That's fine. We can workshop it.
We might need to workshop it, but that's just what we're calling it for now. Super Later Boys, our IRL, just chit-chatting, fun stream, answering some questions from you guys. So support us on Patreon if you want that new show from us. I want to do it really bad, and I know these two guys want to do it as well. You can also support us over at sgbstore.com. Buy some merch. We got t-shirts, we got coffee mugs, we got stickers, hoodies, whatever you need. Get it at sgbstore.com and rep the show. Shout out to Jack Sriracha and Yate once again for allowing us to use their music on the show. We appreciate just the killer tunes in the background while we're chit-chatting, talking about the news. You can find them on Spotify and Apple Music. If you're watching on YouTube and podcast, check in the show description below to find that and give them a listen, please. You can find us during the week at supergamerboys.com, Twitter and Instagram at supergamerboys. I am on Twitter and Instagram at gmorlang. Adrian, where can they find you at?
You can find me any and everywhere at Homeboy.
And JJ, where can they find you at?
You can find me at Twitter and Instagram at JJ Purdom, and you can also find me each and every week at the Suplex City Wrestling Podcast.
Yeah, go check that out. We talked a lot about it at the beginning of the show. Fantastic. Go check out Suplex City Wrestling Podcast, brought to you by Super Gamer Boys. And just had to throw that in there. You couldn't do it without
Presented by.
Produced by.
We every time we pitch a game, sorry, I'm back to the listener question segment. Every time we pitch a game, I'm like, man, that'd be a really fun game to play. Like, I wish we had a game developer friend who could just make all of our ideas and just send it just to us, not to publish to anyone else, just so we could play it.
One day.
Hopefully we'll have a game developer friend. All right. That's all I got for this week, other than one last chat from Pansu, who also followed us on Twitch. Thank you for the follow. They said, don't tell me. Yeah, they said, don't tell me what to do. You're not my real dad. You're right.
Nice.
You're right. Or am I? You don't know. JJ, take it away.
Okay. All right. So I've been thinking really heavily this week. I was thinking if the three of us
easy. Don't don't stress. don't hurt yourself.
Well, trust me, there were some muscles that got bent up in some of this. I thought if we were to do a movie where we were bandits and we were thieves that had a big caper where we're stealing money and stuff, I felt like we would be called the Three Nipple Bandits. So I feel like that should be our next movie.
Are each of us a nipple here?
I think it's basically based on the fact that I have 3 nipples.
Oh,
so we need to be doing. Yeah, I don't know. We'll workshop it.
Okay.
So you're wanting to exploit your mutation.
You say mutation, I say superpower, but whatever. To each their own, however you like to decipher that. So for Adrian Homeboy Holmes, for Garrett Morlang, and for myself, Juicy JJ Purdom, we are the Super Gamer Boys.
And we will catch you on the flippity flop.
Garrett, for a quarter, I'll actually let you see your nipple.
No, thank you.